Hi, and welcome to COVID-19 Parenting. I'm Julie Joback, and I'm the counselor at Arroyo.
And I'm Teresa Wace. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in downtown San Carlos, and I'm also part of the mental health team here at the San Carlos School District. I'd like to bring us back to part two. This is our topic, sibling fighting or sibling rivalry. What we'd like to start with today is reframing fighting between our children. What I mean by reframing is whenever you put a group of human beings into a room, there's always some fighting. There's different minds, different realities, different feelings, different perspectives that it makes it sometimes hard to understand each other. And fights usually are a bid to understand each other a little bit different if we do it right. So fighting is normal. Human beings will always fight. It's part of the whole relational aspect of being in a herd. It's a growth opportunity. And I'd love it if you work on that energy whenever your children are fighting, because that keeps us from jumping into the ring with them, if not actually fighting with them. But sometimes if we have negative energy towards our kids because they are fighting, that's a form of jumping in the ring with them. We want to stay calm and attuned. It helps them. Let's talk about what you want to watch for as a parent when your children are fighting. You want to watch for when that fighting crosses a line. Let me give you some examples. When someone in the family is not listening to another person, that's crossing a line. When feelings are invalidated, when there's gaslighting, when someone's willing to bend the reality to win an argument, to be right, or to manipulate. When shame and judgment comes into the picture, we want to watch for that one. Another thing we want to watch for, to borrow from John Gottman, is the four horsemen: contempt, defensiveness, stonewalling, and criticism. We also want to watch for the big one, when you can see there's some damage being done to the relationships, or when a child or a parent says stop. We want our family to actually listen to stop when it comes to fighting. I also would like to add the perspective of we as parents are a bridge for our children when they're fighting. Let's look at the reality. You get two siblings, there's almost always the case of a older, more developed mind with a younger, less developed mind. We sometimes as parents have to bridge that gap of this mind's just a little faster and has more experience than this mind. How do we bridge that? And how we deal with our kids helps the older child have more compassion and empathy. And by watching it, the younger child will learn that too. And so when you need to, fighting gets too far along, too far into a damaging behavior, that's your job, is to be the bridge. Show them about repair and all the positive aspects of fighting, how to come in and learn something from a fight, or be a better version of ourselves.
That's such great information, Teresa. And I'm thinking about how our parents really need to be grounded and really calm in order to do all of this. So I'm going to take it a step back, that as a parent, you really need to observe yourself first, and how, be honest, how do you show up in arguments and fights with your family or your friends? Are you grounded? Are you self-aware? Are you considering perspective? Or are you exploding? Are you shutting down? Or are you being passive aggressive? And sometimes these are hard questions to ask ourselves. But the great news is, when we're willing to look at ourselves, we really understand how we're showing up and what we're modeling. And so if we are not yet arguing in a way that is healthy, we can work on that first. And, reach out, right? Reach out to a friend, a family member who is a great listener and isn't judgmental, or a mental health provider. This is a great time to get to know your mental health providers and ask for some support with really recognizing how you show up in arguments. Do that work. It'll be so much easier for you to be that person who is there to be the bridge, like you talked about, Teresa. Here is one example, though, that you can do with your family right now is when it's calm, bring everyone together and say, hey, we're going to try something new. It's going to be an experiment. And we're going to pick a word, a safe word. I always pick the word pineapple. And when anyone in the house says that word during an argument, we all agree that we stop the argument right there. We go to our four corners or our bedrooms, our backyards, our living rooms, and we do self-care, whatever that is, to calm ourselves down and to just bring our energy to a place where we feel okay, with knowing that we all are going to come back to that discussion. We're not sweeping it under the carpet. We are showing up and we're going to finish that argument, but not in an elevated state where we will harm relationships. So letting the kids have buy-in with the word is an easy way to get them to say, okay, let's try it.
I love the buy-in, and I particularly love the symbolism of the word pineapple that you picked, Julie, because that has such positive connotations of welcoming. What a great word to stop when the behavior goes too far.
So true. And it's a fun word, right?
It is.
So, yeah. So make sure, first that you're really being honest with yourself and you're doing your own work to find out, am I modeling the behavior that I want to see in my children? Because our kids are watching us all the time. They're not necessarily always listening to us, but they are watching us. So thank you for your time today. I'm Julie.
And I'm Teresa. Have a good one.